The new edition of the SportLife program is on the air, and Alexandra Abramova is here with you. Hello. Let's start traditionally with the most high-profile news from the world of mixed martial arts over the past week. The famous Swedish fighter of a Chechen origin, Khamzat Chimaev, made a lot of noise in America and even almost disrupted the UFC tournament number 279. A mysterious mouse brawl over a bad joke and an emergency rearrangement in the card. How did weekend in Las Vegas go? Recall that Chimaev's opponent for the tournament, which took place on the night of September 11 till 12 Moscow time, was supposed to be the legendary UFC athlete Nate Diaz. At the same time, many fans of the promotion believed that the American had no chances against Khamzat, despite an impressive record and the fighting experience, because the veteran of the UFC is not even in the top 15 athletes of the organization. Shortly before the tournament, it became known that due to the badly suffered weight loss, doctors recommended that the athlete stop the process of preparing for the fight, and therefore Chimaev could not make the necessary weight. Also during the press conference, another American fighter, Kevin Holland, first heard Chimaev in the interview and later joked about his willingness to provide free beard-cutting services. According to eyewitnesses, the conflict escalated into a fight involving more than 100 people. However, the footage published online shows only the end of the brawl. Therefore, MMA fans had doubts whether there really was a fight or whether it was a kind of a warm-up before the fight. At the final moment, the organizers of the UFC made a desperate attempt. They mixed the participants of the most anticipated pairs. Thus, El Cucuy Ferguson met with Nate Diaz in the main event, and in the co-main fight, Khamzat Chimaev choked the offender, Kevin Holland, in the 3rd minute of the first round. This is the 12th victory in the athlete's career with 0 in the defeat graph. And that is how Khamzat became even closer to the long-awaited title bout and filled all the columns of the sport news in just one weekend. And MMA fans admitted that such a rearrangement in the card made the tournament even more interesting. And we continue to talk about the highlights of the 55th anniversary evening of the MMA Series, which took place on September 2nd in the arena of the Great Moscow Circus on Vernadsky Avenue. We have already analyzed the results of the super bouts of the post-event in the previous program. Today, the main card fights are next in the line, and let's start with the returning to the ranks after the first and only defeat of Ekimov. The representative of the club Kuznia started the fight actively, without looking closer at the opponent. Taking the initiative, he worked with his feet, trying to reach the knockouting upkick. Claudio's response to the opponent's actions were periodic low kicks made to slow down Yakov's pace a bit. Closer to the 2nd minute from the start of the fight, the athletes found themselves in the clinch at the net, which resulted in the opponent's throw by Ekimov to the canvas. Claudio diligently tried to get out from under Yakov, but he demonstrated good control skills despite the difficulties of entering the full mount position. Ferreira got to his feet for a short time twice, but soon found himself under Ekimov again, who meanwhile was slowly accumulating points. In the 2nd round, Claudio started the fight more actively, trying this time to take the initiative into his own hands. However, Yakov again gently and imperceptibly pressed his opponent to the net. Claudio twice unsuccessfully tried to go into wrestling, but eventually ran into the knee of the representative of the club Kuznia. The blow turned out to be quite dense, and the Brazilian opponent went into passive defense, broken by several hammer fists. Congratulations to Yakov unsuccessfully closing the defeat. As part of the women's confrontation, Victoria Takhovrebova, the representative of the Vostok club, made a successful debut on the side of our promotion. Despite the emergency change of the opponent, she still managed to take the victory from Kenjibaeva, who agreed to the fight on a short notice. The fight in the lightest weight category lasted only 2 minutes and 45 seconds. The center of the cage was taken by Victoria from the very first seconds, and after a half-minute reconnaissance, she inflicted only one low kick. In response to this, Aijan decided to take active action and made an unsuccessful attempt to pass into the legs of her opponent. After a little fight, the girls moved on to exchanging blows. The first blow was inflicted by Aijan, and the second one was inflicted by Takhovrebova. However, by the beginning of the 2nd minute, Victoria probably got tired of the cautious game and exploded with a small series of side blows to the head at the average distance, pinning her opponent to the net, after which she got into a clinch. The contestants returned to the center of the cage. Victoria gently tipped Aijan onto the deck and soon found herself in the full mount position. It took Victoria only 10 seconds to finish off her opponent until the referee stopped the fight. The judges recorded Victoria's victory by technical knockout, and during the whole fight, the representative of the Vostok club threw 12 accurate hits out of 27, and her opponent Aijan only 4 out of 13. 2019. Ivan Eremenko from the New Jersey club snatched victory from a dangerous opponent Ismail Gamal by a decision of the judges following the results of 3 full rounds. The outcome of the fight could have been decided at the beginning of the first round, but the Kaliningrad fighter had to show fortitude and endurance in achieving the goal. The new opponent of Eremenko was a little less experienced but fighter who did not know defeat before meeting Ivan, Ismail Gamal from Egypt. From the very first seconds, he occupied the center of the cage and exploded with a bright and high-speed series of attacks, literally pressing the lost Eremenko into the net. Ivan was able to recover from the shock and start striking back only closer to 10 seconds. It is curious that in such a short period of battle, the Egyptian managed to deliver 8 accurate strikes out of 15. The athlete tried to keep such a pace up to the 30th second. However, when faced with the resilience and the maneuverability of Mowgli, he noticeably slowed down. The fighters exchanged blows in the rack for a minute and a half. Ivan tried to knock over his opponent twice, but the course of the fight still returned to the rack. A minute and a half after the start of the fight, Ivan missed another blow, now in the jaw, and lost his balance. Gamal quickly caught up with his opponent and tried to finish him off in the stalls. However, Ivan, despite the missed blows, repeatedly made attempts to get to the painful reception. Despite a noticeable slowdown in the subsequent minutes of the fight, in comparison with the first 10 seconds, the fighters continued to act actively and give the fans a really spectacular and intense duel, during which Ivan struck 91 accurate blows out of 119 and Gamal 71 out of 122, which allowed the judges to rule in favor of Eremenko. Congratulations to the representative of the club New Jersey with another confident victory. I knew he would act like that, because I've seen his fights. He wins all the fights in the same manner. Out of 6 his fights were exactly the same. He swoops in, drives in, the person gets lost and starts to get confused, and that's it, eventually a knockout. So I've been waiting for this. But then at the very beginning when it all started like that, I didn't even understand where I am. Another athlete from the New Jersey club, Alexander Lunev, took the victory at the 55th tournament of the series. The fight with Tarek Muhammad lasted a little less than 1 full round and brought Alexander another successful submission to the statistics of fights. Despite a young age of both participants of the fight, the athletes began the duel with dense and unpleasant blows, without wasting extra time to look at each other. However, the fighters still tried to keep their distance. By 30 seconds after the exchange of attacks, Tarek Muhammad missed a straight and unstressed pass to the legs from Alexander. Lunev tried to get into a full mount, but the guard with the opponent's long legs significantly complicated his task. Such a positional struggle lasted for about 2 minutes. Alexander's cornerman told the fighter that it was necessary to start striking, but Muhammad skillfully used his size, preventing the opponent from reaching the desired position. In the middle of the 3 minutes, the representative of the New Jersey club finally managed to get into a full mount, but only for a couple of seconds, because Tarek Muhammad skillfully turned the course of the duel for 180 degrees, and now Alexander was the one to be under the opponent. It took only 20 seconds for the young Kaliningrad resident to perform the arm lock from the disadvantageous position, which became victorious. Exactly 50 seconds before the end of the first round, Muhammad knocked as a sign of surrender, and the referee stopped the fight. It is worth noting that Alexander got 90% of his victories with the help of submissions. I was seriously preparing. I was preparing with my team. We had a camp for 2 months. We planned everything, moved according to our plan. To be honest, the preparation was very active. I think it was my best shape of all the time. Tarek, you have a good future. You're a good guy. Move in your direction, move towards your goals, and everything will be fine. And this was the SportLife program and its host Alexandra Abramova. Follow the promotion news on the MMA-Series.com website and in our social networks. And watch the TV channel MMA-TV.com, especially every Thursday. See you on the air.